Sometimes we cry.
This is where we get real about being human. The slip-ups, the regrets, the bad calls, and the funny stories we'd rather forget. Sometimes the worst mistakes are the best. But at the end of the day, we're all just losers. I'm your host, Josh, and this is The Great Mistakes.
For my great successes and my great mistakes.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. It's Josh with the Great Mistakes podcast. Today, I got a couple friends, Davey Jackson and Justin, the Marine Sniper.
Governor.
No, we're not. No,
Oh.
the Marine Sniper today. No, Justin Governall.
Build the wall, Governor.
And today's interesting because a lot of things have transpired in the past 24 hours, and we got a lot to talk about. So, based on kind of like the political divide, I think it's a good time to try and keep it separate, but together. Kind of call some truths, and figure out what the hell's going on and who we are in America right now. So,
Dude, it's a weird time. It's a very weird time.
Yeah.
Free speech is under attack, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Freedom of thought, freedom of speech is under direct attack in our country right now.
Yeah.
I was not in the military, so I didn't really,
No, it's,
I didn't fight for any of this stuff, but y'all did. And it's crazy to me what's happening right now.
so you think freedom of speech is being attacked?
Directly.
I don't think so.
What do you think it is?
I'm just kidding.
Don't boo me, I'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. In reality, everyone loves free speech until they say someone else says something that they don't like.
Yeah.
So everyone should be in support of free speech, and no one should be in support of murder. I think that's a pretty simple blanket statement, right? That
Yeah.
everyone gets.
I don't think the CEO of United Healthcare should have been assassinated, right? Just like the senator recently was assassinated, and then with Kirk being assassinated, how they tried to assassinate Trump. I've continuously said that is not okay. There's no space for political violence. And then I posted it again this time because it was a higher profile case, right?
Yeah.
And man, I started getting a bunch of hate messages like, okay, understand freedom of speech, but where was that energy when the senator was shot? Or, oh, you support, where was that energy when kids got killed because of guns? And I'm like, I never condoned that. It's a logical fallacy. I never condoned any of that, right? But then then I see people praising it, right? Like Troy Bond was praising, he's a famous comic. And
Famous is a stretch.
yeah, well, big on social media,
Well,
right?
what makes this a little different than those situations is because the person that was murdered was an individual or assassinated was an individual who does, he has a lot of content. He's a famous internet person.
Yeah.
So we're going to react in a famous internet way.
Charlie Kirk is a content creator.
Correct.
That's what he's
Yeah.
not a politician.
He doesn't make any laws.
I mean, obviously, he was very involved with this last election cycle, very much so.
Yeah.
Turning Point USA is a huge organization. He travels across the country, and really his whole thing was generating discussion around hot political topics.
Yeah.
That was his thing.
Yeah.
And he made a lot of content doing that, and a lot of people watched his content.
Even recently when granted it was not to shift entirely, but like when I trolled the protest, the No Kings protest, right?
Okay.
I had the sign, go to my comedy show, it was on Fox News, and then I had another one that everybody was yelling like, F Trump, F Trump.
Right.
I got to censor it, but F Trump, F Trump. And
You
I
can
had
say
a sign.
fuck here. I don't care.
Yeah, well, just for the content's sake. Yeah, but everybody was like, fuck Trump, fuck Trump. And I had a sign, I had two signs. I had one that said, fuck ICE, right? But that was like just to get in.
That was a decoy sign.
That was a decoy sign. Need to make that clear. But yeah, I walked into their little crowd and then I would switch the sign. And then one sign said, go to my comedy show on this date. And then the other one said, Justin Governall, 39 years old, circumcised. And I was just, parading. And it got a bunch of views. But then I saw my face screenshotted on all these.
I just realized that was you that did that.
Yeah.
It went
viral. Yeah, it went viral.
It's fucking hilarious.
It was on Fox News. But
I forgot. Yeah.
what I'm saying is like, I started seeing people were sending me like these pages where I was screenshotted with my face. His name is Justin Governall. He's a known agitator. So now they're trying to like, not necessarily get me assassinated, but almost like put a hit on me.
Yeah.
Right. And so what I'm saying is when this thing happened, I'm nowhere near the level of public as Charlie Kirk was. But one of the thoughts that came through my head was, man, I wonder if I troll, if someone's going to try and like, let's say if I created a whole career out of trolling like this, And then what? Now I'm just going to be doing it one day and then bam, just because they don't agree with me.
Well,
that thought went through my head.
Dude, so a while back,
terrorism is.
I created a series of content, and it was essentially videos of politicians, Biden, Trump, Ted Cruz, Hillary Clinton, Obama, all of them. I would take videos of them and I would dub over the video pretending like my voice was the Secret Service. And those videos went insanely viral. Crazy viral. I'm talking like 30, 40, 50 million views just on one platform.
Right.
My platform ultimately got deleted.
Yeah.
By order of the White House, supposedly. I can't prove that, but I will tell you, when I did these Secret Service videos about Joe Biden, I got more death threats than I literally couldn't conceive of it until I started seeing the messages pour in.
Yeah.
I mean, tons and tons of death threats. But I will tell you, when I did those same Secret Service videos about Trump or other conservatives, I probably got a couple death threats, but not even remotely to the extent of when I did these Secret Service videos on Democrat politicians.
Well, and it's kind of weird because, you guys know me, I'm a pretty centrist guy, and what keeps me pulled in one direction is not necessarily the beliefs or the things that, conservatives or whatever, it may be on this side that supports.
Mhm.
It's just because a lot of times it's just because of how people react on the other side. And it's just totally fucking bananas. Because the same thing, like I'll make a funny, dumb comment on a page. I'll do the same shit on a conservative page, and they'll be like, all right, well, we're praying for you. And I'm agnostic, so it doesn't mean shit to me. But I do the same thing on a liberal page, and they're like, fuck you and your family. You're a fucking poser loser. You have a small dick and a big truck. And I'm like, actually, I drive a car. Like, it's chill out, guys. Like, why don't we all just fucking
Small
chill.
dick, check.
Small dick
Big
check.
truck, no.
You're right about the dick thing.
You're right, yeah.
But the truck...
Still in a small car. So fuck, man. But yeah.
I think and I'm sure there are threats on both sides. There is poor behavior on both sides.
Right on.
But the level of celebration over a man's murder from the left right now is blowing my mind. And the other thing that is infuriating is watching some of these liberal influencers, liberal politicians say that we don't condone this violence. There's no place for political violence, but they are the ones perpetuating the message that anyone that doesn't agree with them is a Nazi, fascist, racist, homophobic, whatever, accusation you want to use. They are perpetuating this message. What did you think was going to happen, dude? Yeah. What did you think was going to happen when you convince an entire population of people, arguably half the country, that this guy, Charlie Kirk, is a Nazi fascist? What did you think was going to happen?
At least one guy is going to feel a certain way enough to do something. Yeah.
It's the same. Like, I commented on his Instagram and I said, this is an attack on free speech. We will not be silenced, but more vocal. And I commented and I started getting a bunch of hate comments. I'm getting DMs, messages. I'm getting comments on all my other videos like, this is trash, or like, not funny. You call yourself a comedian. I'm like, okay, like, whatever. But what I'm getting at is like, a lot of those comments were, so you support school shootings, or where was this energy when the kids died in Colorado today? Dude,
so stupid.
That didn't have as big as a public eye. And it's not that I don't care about it all. I personally didn't see it yet, but I make it clear again, I don't support that shit. And then a lot of these individuals will be like, what's happening in Palestine is terrible. Innocent, fathers, children are being killed. And then an innocent father got killed.
Which is true.
And then they're like, yeah, well, he specifically said some deaths need to happen to keep our Second Amendment. So...
Which is just factual. That's just factual. Yeah, if there's guns, there are going to be accidental or intentional deaths. That's
if people recorded the shit that I fucking said my whole life, like people get recorded that are in the media like that, I deserve a lot more shit than he got.
That's a lot of wild shit.
You know what I'm saying? So
well, also let's take that statement. Where was the outrage about this school in Denver?
Bro,
the
it's never
Democratic.
okay, dude.
None of that is okay.
Right.
But also where was the media coverage for that Ukrainian girl that got stabbed in the neck? Where was the media coverage on that? I'll tell you where it was. Non-existent. Didn't happen.
People choose. Here's the thing. Once you become an American, you're not. Once you're here, you're either this or that, and that's the problem. And if you look at her, she's a blonde white chick. So at this point, she's probably labeled as something else. Because I seen a picture, she's got a Black Lives Matter poster in her room and stuff,
she did.
And like, who knows who this person really was? But the problem we have here now is that it doesn't fit what the narrative needs to be. And it's the same thing on the right side. There could be someone who has had the same thing happen to them. Same thing happened to me, whatever. But if it doesn't fit, no one drives it.
Right.
And it's never going to happen if we have the same divide and the same media coverage that we do. And it's never going to fucking go.
What's really interesting, I made a post about the Charlie Kirk situation on my public feed on social media, right? There weren't a lot of my comedy friends that came out condemning the act of political violence on Charlie Kirk on their main feed. But I did that and immediately got attacked for it, immediately lost a bunch of followers. And that's fine. I expected that, I'm not surprised. Yeah. And exactly. I'll be all right. But for me to get attacked and for people to say in my comments, why don't you just shut up and tell jokes? Okay. If we're talking about where's that same energy for Troy Bond?
Yeah.
That posts the most heinous shit about Charlie Kirk's passing. And not in a funny way. Mine wasn't funny either. I was just condemning political violence. Troy Bond goes and attacks Charlie Kirk about this. There is no joke to it whatsoever. There's no humorous anecdote here. Where's the same energy attacking me as a comic for not defending Charlie Kirk, but condemning political violence? Where's that same energy for Troy Bond?
Yeah, well, the fucked up thing is, like people always, when people attack you, it's because they look for something. And, you're a comedian, so your opinion's not valid on a subject.
It's the whole shut up and dribble mentality. Yeah, and I get it.
But you know what? This is America. Everyone's got an opinion. It doesn't matter what, the janitor down the fucking street could be smarter than everybody in this room, and you don't know that.
That's the beauty of free speech.
Exactly, and that's why we need that.
I went to El Salvador. I've been there, 2 or 3 times at this point. And
murder capital of the world, right?
It was. When I went and I hitchhiked the year prior. Yeah, I fixed it. The year prior was murder capital of the world, and I was like, I'm gonna go hitchhike there. And I hitchhiked through all that, and I was pretty safe. And I started interviewing people, and they were saying like, 1 year ago you couldn't be here because the cartels or the gangs were so violent, and the president kind of paraded them into a prison, etc. But I was interviewing people on their experience of living there through that time and the change, and I actually never published a lot of it, but one of them was my Uber driver, and I started saying, what do you think about the current political situation? And I was journaling everything, and then she looked at me and she said, I'm not allowed to speak about it. And I said, why? And she said, because in order to be here, my visa states I politically
I've heard of this.
Cannot talk about anything. So I cannot have an opinion. And I said, what is your opinion? And she's like, it was crazy before, and now it's relatively safe. But politically, I'm not allowed to comment on, or I'll lose my visa and I'll get kicked out of the country. And I was like, holy shit, that kind of sucks, right? That's not like how it is here. There's people here on visas that
that's
protest.
Called communism.
Right? And then the other thing is that because I got a lot of tattoos, and a lot of gang members have tattoos. And allegedly, if you have like an MS-13 tattoo, they'll arrest you, throw you in a, what do you call it? Those camps.
Gulag?
Yeah, in a gulag, essentially, but in rehabilitation camp, if you will. And I was walking down the street.
Sit Indian style and read the same book every day?
Yeah. Dude, I was walking down the street on the beach, and these cops were pulling people aside with tattoos, and I walked right past them. I'm an American in their country, and they stopped me. And they said, what do your tattoos say? Where are you from? What are you doing? And they made me take my shirt off, right? And I took my shirt off, and I had to start explaining my tattoos.
Yeah.
And I started being like, look, I was in the military. This one's, back in the day. And I just started telling what my tattoos mean. And they're like, oh, you're from America. Let me see your passport. They start talking to me, and they're like, okay, have a nice day. And they give me back my shirt. And I saw they just kept harassing this dude. And I left for like 30, 45 minutes. I came back. They were still writing down all this information about this poor dude that's just walking around with tattoos, right? And what I'm getting at is like tattoos, art is a form of expression. In other countries that I've been to, right, the leadership, granted they might have been like insurgencies, but they would, dude, when I was in Iraq back in the day, someone got caught with liquor in their house and they chopped both their arms off and they threw them on the side of the road, right? And Americans found them and they sent the message out and everybody, all the people in the area were like, oh, you got caught with whiskey. And I was like, holy shit. So what I'm saying is, again, people are like, how is this an attack on free speech? I'm like, he was speaking his mind. Someone disagreed with him and they eliminated his free speech. And that's a deterrent. All it does is deter, like I said, it went through my mind. I was like, do I not go protest? I'm still going to, right?
Yeah.
But that's what
And
terrorism
it made me
is,
nervous,
right?
man. Yeah, I mean,
so-
because I'm like, I've got a pod now. Like, I'm starting this thing. I'm trying to express myself, some art, bringing people on I like. Am I going to be the next guy? You know what I mean? Like, who fucking knows? Anybody that's got a following, anybody that speaks out, like, are you next? Left, right, middle? It don't fucking matter, you know?
In sniper school, they showed us a quote, kill one man, terrify 1,000. I don't know who said it, but it's such a powerful quote, right? And with that being said, they said, where can you think of where this instance, took place? Kill one man, terrify 1,000. And they start talking about how being a sniper and that dude wasn't a sniper chick or they, them that did what they did recently. But they said, sniper is a battlefield amplifier because kill one man, terrify 1,000, right? And with that being said, they're like, think about an instance and we're all, and they go, DC sniper. If you think about it, the DC sniper, you remember that back in the day?
Yeah.
There was a DC sniper and then they're interviewing people like.
That's the guy they shot out of the trunk, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're a veteran, by the way.
Yeah.
But what they were saying was they were interviewing people like 200 miles away in like a different state, right? And they were like interviewing people, what do you think? And they're like, I'm scared to go to the grocery store. And so that's kill one man, terrify 1,000. It's the same concept with you have a man who has a podium and a platform and they kill him. And now what? Is Steven Crowder not going to go out and speak? He's going to, right? Because that's what free speech is. We still have free speech. And if anything, his message got louder, right? Because now so many, dude, I'm so scared to post things sometimes because I'm like, it's going to catch a lot of shit. And then I'll post it anyway, right? And then I get all this hate. I lose followers. I gain some, like the Fox News thing, right? When I did that, I lost like 300-400 followers, not that much, but I gained like 3,500 because I was trolling the ICE protests. So I want to eliminate the people that don't agree with me trolling regardless. But it's like what's beautiful in this country is that that they can be at the protests. I support that. I don't necessarily agree with their message, but that's what makes this country beautiful, right? And even like the freaking George Floyd protests, to be honest, and I lose people on this too, I don't think the cop should have put his knee on the neck. And I say that as a jiu-jitsu black belt, right? Like, dude, a man is handcuffed. You don't need to do that to someone. That's just a dick move, right? You don't have to. So what I did,
but
what I did was I was like, I'm going to go to the protest. I don't think what was done was correct. Now, do I think the knee is what killed him? I don't know. That's another debate, right? I'm not a doctor. And so, but there wasn't a need to do that. And so I went to the protest and I was walking around and I looked around and all of a sudden it changed from say his name, George Floyd, to trans rights are rights. And then it was, Black Lives Matter, and then it was like my body, my choice, and it was just looped in collectively.
Yeah,
all the ideologies, and I was like, bro, I thought I was here because of George Floyd. And then towards the end of the evening, we started seeing these trucks pull up, and all these individuals wearing black showed up. And then this guy that I was talking to looks at me and he's like, Antifa just showed up. And I go, how do you know? And he says, I live in Seattle. I know what they are. We better get out of here. And so I'm like, and I was with my girlfriend at the time. So I'm like, yeah, let's get out of here. And we do. And my friend said, he's taking pictures. I'm going to stay. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, I just got tear gas. And apparently they started rioting. All these people started. And then the next day, they freaking went through the streets of San Antonio, Texas, and destroyed everybody's business. Just broke all the windows in protest. And I'm like, dude, that's not what free speech is. And some people would argue that is free speech. We are expressing how we feel. I'm like, that's
I think that's
shitty,
hurting
dude.
other people in their businesses, man. That's what it is.
Destroying private property.
Yeah.
Could you say that it's free speech?
No.
Sure.
No. It's legally, it's not.
Legally, it is not.
Right.
You can say it is, but legally, that is not what free speech is.
Right.
Destroying another person's private property is just vandalism. That's all that is.
In definition.
Even the Rittenhouse thing, right? Some people are like, what he did was wrong. Some people are like, what he did is correct. Legally, because he got off in our racist justice system, as some would say, right? He did get off. What I was thinking was...
Oh, you mean Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy that smoked a pedophile?
Yeah.
That guy?
So removing all the details and all the facts, that individual at the time where he was at was legally in his legal right to defend himself. Now, granted, as a father, now I'm a father, would I allow my son at 17 years old to grab
Absolutely
a
not.
rifle and be like, I'm going to go to these riots? I'm going to be like, son, you were not leaving the house and you were not taking a firearm with you. You were staying at home, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he should have gone and did what he did, but he put himself in that situation and people threatened his life and he did what he did. So was it a clean shoot? Yes, 1,000%. And I
Right.
will die on that, right?
Like morally, maybe not. He interjected himself into a situation, maybe knowing that something like that would happen.
Yeah. And
But
so,
it was not illegal, and also he did happen to by chance kill a pedophile.
yeah.
So at the end of the day, you can say net positive, right?
Yeah. Were they clean shoots? Hell yes.
Hey,
dude.
at the end of the day, that was just white on white crime. All right, that's
Yeah.
literally all it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was going to get hit with a skateboard and I had a rifle, I'd be like, don't bring
Well,
a
it's like-
skateboard to a gunfight.
Well, it's
Right?
like when a cop
Easy.
kills somebody. Like I'm like 50-50 on cops, right? So like half of them are good, half of them are bad, whatever.
Shout out
And-
donut operator.
I'm like 90-10.
But
I
a lot
think
of times,
90%
you
are
know,
good.
like they put themselves in a situation knowing that they may be able to escalate it to take someone to jail. And that's okay because this person probably is going to break the law and they may be, but you can also go that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is this guy in the car shitbag? Yeah.
I have a very tainted history with police officers, so yeah, I'm probably not one to speak on it necessarily. I do think it's very interesting how everyone screamed for body cams, and now we've got the body cams
And
and
they're
some
like,
of
hold
the
up.
whoa, we
not
didn't think
all
of-
the body cams. Not all of them. Fuck, dude.
Oh, you didn't mean they murdered someone in cold blood? They were
Yeah.
actually coming at them with a knife, screaming like a maniac? Whoops.
There are some.
Well, you see everything. You know, that's the thing.
That's
you
it.
know?
There, I mean, this is going to sound like I'm a serial killer, but I do watch those videos all day. It's on my Instagram feed, right? And I do some, like even right now, before the podcast, I watched a shoot where they shot a guy who had a shotgun and a pistol. I believe by watching that video, that was probably a suicide by cop attempt. But the cop gave him every opportunity with his body cam. Put it down, hey. And he starts saying his first name. Hey, man, come on, can I grab that off you? He's like, if you touch me. And sure enough, he pulls a pistol out. Officer waits until he points it. Officer's faster. He's trained. Boom, boom. Engages. The guy starts shooting at him, runs around,
Yep.
engages 2 more times, jumps on the hood of the car 3 more times. Clean shoot, right? But then I've also seen shoots where an officer shot a lady that threw boiling water at him, right?
Oh,
Legally,
that old black lady in the kitchen?
yeah, that was
Oh
shitty.
my,
that was
that's
shitty.
fucked up.
That was
Yeah.
shitty. And a lot of people I saw arguing, well, maybe don't throw boiling water. Bro, she's probably has some mental issues, mental distress, I'm sorry. And like I'm not going to engage someone throwing boiling water at me. What I'm going to do if she's holding a hot pot of water, I'm going to say, holy shit,
I'm going to
Like,
go this way a
logically,
little bit.
that water can only fly this far.
Yeah.
I would back up and say, lady, right? Like, do not throw that water at me. I'm not going to take my freaking pistol
Well,
out
that's
and
when
smoke
that's
you.
when training comes into play, right?
Yes.
Because like that's why.
Oh, that
okay,
dude was yelling at that chick too. You better drop it
Well, the
right
thing
now.
is,
I'm
like,
dude, chill out,
even
bro.
a guy that I don't like half of police because I've experienced it from both angles, training and working with police, and also being in prison.
Yeah, you were
I've
incarcerated,
I've
right?
seen both of, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, the problem is people want to defund them, but that's not the answer. The answer is you need to, if a cop's salary was $150,000 a year at whatever, and the requirements are X, Y, and Z, you're going to get $150,000 motherfucker apply. Right. Whenever you're paying him $15 an hour, and it's a fucking guy that was the second string fullback at Dick Suck
Hey,
Elementary.
I was second string fullback.
But you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of guy you get on the job, and they're not going to be able to distinguish situations and make decisions. And you'll get guys that maybe have a little bit of a pride problem. Maybe he shot her because he knew he could, not because it needed to happen.
Yeah, and he was like
Right.
screaming like crazy, like
Oh, you see that happen all the time. There's these guys that are just on an ego trip. They're just
yeah.
control freaks, and I've encountered those kinds of
dude,
police
I've
officers.
gone shooting with cops before, and bro, I hardly even shoot anymore, right? If I'm being honest. But when I was shooting all the time, I used to do pistol competitions every week for like 2 years because I was applying to be a law enforcement position. I decided not to take it personally because of the trajectory of my life. And I just had a child and all that stuff. But when I was training, I really wanted the job. So I was in top physical condition, right? And I trained with a firearm, pistol competitions. Granted, I never really won them because these individuals are insanely
Yeah, come to find
good.
out, there's people who are not cops or in the military,
They're
and
just-
they will fucking dust
Dude,
your
they're,
ass,
they're
dude.
just data nerds, right? And then
Yeah.
but then they walk over to me and they give me tips, and I was learning and taking that training.
Yeah.
And then since that point, I would, intermingle with law enforcement and be like, hey, you want to go to the range? You want to go train and shoot? And their shot groupings were terrible. Not all of them. Some cops are shit hot. They're former military. They train, but they understand training, right? And dude, their shot groups would be all over the place. They'd be missing and shit. And I'm thinking in my head, holy crap, this chubby dude is a cop. He can barely hit the target. And then I'm just applying to be a cop, and I'm like, bam, bam, right? And so, yeah, it goes into training, right? And training is so much more
than...
than...
more, man. I mean, honestly.
It's more than just, let me grab my gun. It's like, dude, you know how many fights I've walked away from? I was a bouncer for multiple years when I was competing professionally as a fighter. And so many dudes would be like, what are you going to do, little guy? Right? And I'd be like, and I knew I could just smoke this individual on the spot. And I would be like, dude, even if you kick my ass, you're still not allowed in this bar, man. You're not banned forever. You're just banned for tonight. If you kick my ass, bro, you're still not allowed here. And they'd be like, all right, man, I'll leave, man. You're cool. So simple, right?
But you can talk your way out.
Just because you know you can doesn't mean you always should, right? So,
there's something to be said for de-escalation, for sure. For sure, there's something to be, and that's, I think that circles all the way back around to this whole Charlie Kirk thing, right?
Talk to yourself.
Yeah, dude. De-escalate yourself a little bit before you go run your mouth on social media about something that you do not have any understanding of whatsoever.
On a podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Do it on a podcast.
Do it on a podcast, yeah.
All right, Justin, your opinion outright. What do you think about this Charlie Kirk situation? Do you believe that this individual was a professional shooter, considering your background?
I mean, okay, so in terms of my background and the ethos and all that, I was a scout sniper in the Marine Corps from 2004 to 2008, and then I was a sniper, a designated defensive marksman, which is a civilian term for sniper, in Afghanistan at the U.S. Embassy from 2008 to 2010, late 2010. So I went to the FBI qual, I went to Mountain Sniper, and I went to Scout Sniper Basic course, right? So I don't want to sit here and say I am a complete professional, but I have a little training on sniping and all that. And what's funny is everybody keeps throwing the term sniper out loosely. Was it a professional shot? Again, this is my own opinion, but what I believe when I initially saw the impact and all that, first thing is everybody wondered, is he going to make it? Is he going to live? Pray for him, right? One of the things they teach you at every sniper course is something called immediate incapacitation, which means you want to hit here, right? The brainstem on either the ears, right? You would get immediately incapacitated if it hit here in the spinal cord and all that. Center mass, and that's essentially it, right? Immediate incapacitation means if you pull a trigger, or if you're about to pull the trigger and you have a hostage and you get immediately incapacitated, you don't even have the brain power to keep that going, right? With that being said, the first instinct when I saw the shot was that it was not professional, because at no point in me being a sniper was I trained to aim for the neck. I was taught sometimes to aim for the hip, to incapacitate them, etc., or not immediately incapacitate, but just they'll bleed out slowly and have their friends try and help them, etc. What I'm getting at is, if you have one shot, one opportunity, to start the 8 Mile Eminem song, no.
And you have one shot and you're trained.
Yes. If you have
that
one
distance.
Yeah, if you have one shot and you are trained, I do not believe it was a professionally trained shot, because at no point in my sniper training was I taught to aim for the neck. And a lot of people keep saying, oh, but it's because there was an angle. Angle only necessarily matters, at least from my training, at 30 degrees plus. From 200 yards on a second, third-story building, let's call it a third-story building, that's still like a, 5-10 degree angle. I don't think it would impact, because it was a 30-06, which is a pretty big round, right? So, I mean, at 300 yards in the Marine Corps with a 308, I can literally say, do I want to hit the left nostril or the right nostril, right? Because it's a minute of angle accuracy. That's another conversation another day. What I am getting at is everybody saying, oh, he didn't account for the angle, him or he or she or they, them. We don't know what it is at this point. But they didn't account for the angle. At that short of a distance, let's call it 200 yards. That's what I just read on the internet right now. It would only make about 1.5 inches high at about 200 yards. And that's if it was zeroed at 100 yards, right? If it was zeroed at 200, if they were trained professionally, they would have zeroed their rifle, or at least gotten the data at that distance. With that said, maybe they didn't want to aim for the chest because maybe they were wondering if he had a bulletproof vest, right? So this to here is a significant difference, right? This is a smaller target, a lot smaller than the head in general. So Do I think it was a professional shot? I don't think so. I mean, they still got the outcome that they likely wanted. And they also got away for now. So they weren't completely untrained, and they could have done their own training. They could have done dry runs. They could have done drills. They could have done this every single day knowing that they were going to, they had an escape route and all that already set in place. And then lastly, there's a video of the shooter in broad daylight on a rooftop. Fun fact, I did go to sniper school twice. I failed the last day the first time I went, and the second time I made it all the way through. That's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother story. But again, I did pass basic scout sniper school, mountain sniper, and then State Department certified designated defensive marksman course. So with that said, and I went to Iraq 2 times, right? 1 time as a sniper, and was in Afghanistan for almost 2 years as a DDM. But with that being said, dude, the first time I was in sniper school, I was on a mission, and I freaking got on a rooftop and I was crawling. And then when my instructor went up there, he just failed that mission, right? And I had to redo the mission. And partially he was like, dude, you're just on a rooftop. Rooftop as a sniper works if you are doing some sort of overwatch and you almost are over and you want the enemy or whoever to know that you were there. Whenever you set up a sniper position, a sniper hide, what's the most obvious spot that you're a sniper? If you have no training,
you're silhouetting on
first
top
thing
of a
you're
roof.
going to do is look for a rooftop, right? So I watched that video. If my brain serves me correctly, there was a spot under that was shaded. At the very least, be in the shade to have less of a profile. Also, I believe, and again, I don't know for sure, but I believe I saw like a black shirt, right? You would think if they were actually, but they also want to blend in. So maybe that's some pro-American stuff. I saw some stuff coming out that they had like, they're trying to blend in. So, I mean, it was a very obvious position to the point where they got seen in video, right? There's video like, oh, look, the shooter's walking around or somebody's walking around. So if they were professionally trained,
they would understand their exposure.
Yeah, their exposure. They would have taken a window, shaded it, taken the shot from there, still had an escape route from there. And I also heard that a rifle has been recovered. In the Marine Corps, you call that target indicator, anything a sniper does or fails to do, which reveals yourself, position, or equipment to the enemy. The enemy at this point is the U.S. government, right? So I don't personally think they were professionally trained because of the first thing I said before I even analyzed angle or any of that was shot placement. This is not, I mean, it's viable in the sense of mortality, right? Or fatality, but it's not a viable shot in terms of immediate incapacitation, which is, I'm sure, is what they were trying to accomplish. Or you can take it a step further and say, well, maybe they were trained. Maybe that is what they wanted. I also talked to someone that was on the ground, right?
Say, well, they did that shot on purpose to make people think that this wasn't a trained sniper.
Yeah, but then people first initially came out when Trump got shot in the ear. That was a professionally trained shot. I could tell you as a sniper, that's a hard shot to hit an ear, right? And then you have to also account something that nobody's talked about. The amount of stress that you are under to take your adrenaline's pumping. Like, I know
one perfect shot.
I know, like, even when I was in the Marine Corps and I thought that I was going to engage, I could see the reticle moving because my heartbeat was so, and they even do this in the Marine Corps. They make you run, they thrash you.
Dude, and then like, imagine a basement dweller dude who's playing Xbox all day. He's probably fired up.
Yeah. And so if it was them, even if you were professionally trained, your adrenaline is going to spike before you take that shot, right? So I just personally think, and also let's remove not out of context, negating everything I just said. 125 yards is what I read initially, or 125 meters. Now I've done a little more reading. The news sites keep changing, but let's call it 200 yards. That's the most recent that I read 10 minutes ago. 200 yards is a very easy shot. I qualified in the Marine Corps with iron sights up to, was it 500 or up to 800, right? You have to qualify in the Marine Corps on iron sights. Now they use optics. So again, we don't know, did they have an optic? Was it iron sights, etc.? I just think it's still an easy shot. I can hit at iron sights at 200, guaranteed, right? So I just personally, from
with a less accurate platform too.
With a less accurate platform. And 30-06 is a stable round. It's a big round, but 200-yard shot is not hard, right? So hitting it in the neck, it's either stress because they weren't trained, right? And they were freaking out and they're like, or they were aiming for the head or for the chest. But again, there's so many what ifs. Were they wearing plates? Did they intentionally want to hit the head? Did they miss here? And everybody's saying they're lower because they didn't account for the angle. Angle only matters, at least from my training back in the day, at 30 plus degrees. And so I just did some calculations And if it were 30 degrees, which let's call it a 3-story building, which I still think is a bit high from looking at it, I don't think it was a 30-degree angle shot. And even then, trajectory does, it starts, you zero at 100. Reason you zero at 100 is because wind has no effect at 100. So now it's at 200. Wind has minimal effect in terms of minute of angle.
To inch and a half with that. Yeah.
I'd say about an inch and a half. Which,
then you have point of aim, point of impact, which would.
Yeah. So if you're aiming here and you hit here, that's an ill-placed shot, personally. So I just think, and then did they zero their rifle? Did they zero it at 100? Did they zero it at 200? Did they zero their rifle at all? Did they have an optic? How high was the angle? There's so many variables. But in terms of from just watching the video, I personally don't think it was a professional. However, they were at least not smart enough. I'm not going to call them smart. What they did wasn't smart, but they at least had enough mental capacity to escape for now. It's been, a day? So
it tells you it was planned at least.
Yeah, it was at least planned, right?
But what you're saying is if it was a professional sniper, given the distance, given the conditions, the shot's not gonna pull from the incapacitation zone.
That's too far. This is too far. But also at 200, if I had wanted to hit a target at 200 yards and I wanted to hit here, because again, they teach you in sniper school, immediate incapacitation.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why you go for the chest, it's the biggest target. You have to account for chest plates. Now, man, there were snipers in Iraq when we were there that were getting guys filling sandbags, and we had side sappies at this point and sappies here, and they were catching guys above, like right when they were filling the sandbag, they were exposed momentarily and they'd hit them here and it'd go through their lungs, right? So 200-yard shot is not hard if you are trained. So were they going for the neck? Maybe.
Well, some people are saying the neck shot could have been a statement. You spoke hateful, evil things.
We don't know that
with your mouth, and so they went for the neck. But I agree with you. I don't think this was a professional.
You can't come to a conclusion, is what we're.
Correct.
We definitely can't come to a conclusion.
I don't think they were trained personally. Initial thought, shot placement.
Based on the information we have now, you cannot say that this person was a trained sniper.
No, personally, no. Because what if you missed by an inch and you're aiming right here? It can go inch this way, this way, this way. Let's call it an inch and a half. Let's say it was 30 degrees at 200 yards. It's either going to go inch and a half high, inch and a half here, inch and a half here, inch and a half there, right? Because it goes into minute of angle concept, right? Which is another conversation. So I don't think it was 30 degrees. I think it was less. And I just don't think I don't think anybody would aim here. I think they were just like, I got him, boom. And also he wasn't moving much. He was kind of not stagnant, stationary.
Yeah.
So
easy.
Yeah.
In the same spot for a long time.
Yeah. So it's an easy shot. What I'm getting at is any basement dweller at 200 yards with minimal training can hit a human.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they specifically aimed here. It's kind of like the Trump thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, and I talked about this. I went on the news and I talked about this because they asked me for my expertise or whatever. I was just a scout sniper back in the day. But people were like, it was placed here on purpose. Do you know how hard an earshot of someone moving is? That's a very hard target, right? And I talked about the same things. Stress on top of a rooftop. I mean, that kid wasn't trained, so they got that kid, all right?
Thomas Crooks was using iron sights.
What's that?
Thomas Crooks was using iron sights.
Oh, for the Trump one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And the fact that it was one shot, I don't know what type of rifle. I think it was, I don't even remember. I don't want to misspeak. But, yeah, I just don't think it was a professional
It was a ghost gun, sniper magazine.
Was it? No, I don't know. But, and then apparently this one, it's coming out that they found the rifle. It was a 30-06.
Mm-hmm.
Things were inscribed. Another thing.
Yeah.
But then again, if things were inscribed on there, they want to get caught.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a message.
Yeah, there's a message.
You want someone to read it.
And that's a different level of training I've never had. I mean, we used to piss in bottles and shit in bags and pack it with us and hike back to where we needed to go.
He still does that.
Yeah, I still do that, actually. But because you don't ever want to leave anything for the enemy, right? In this case, getting caught.
Yeah.
So why would you leave the rifle? Why not? Maybe your shell case, but even then, you don't want to give them any information, right?
Well, I mean, that's just the difference between the motivation behind it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, could have been trained, maybe. So most likely not.
I don't think they were.
From the data we have, it's not a trained person.
So that's another interesting conversation because we're seeing people scream about we don't know the motivation. We don't know whether this was a conservative or a liberal. We don't know, but we've already determined or discovered, I should say, that there were messages inscribed on the shell casings, and those messages had to do with anti-fascist and gender ideology, I'll say. Trans rights, essentially.
So either that person did not like him, or the person who made him do this did not like him. At the end of the day, there was something behind it, because no one dies in that way if there's not some sort of agenda.
Correct.
Yeah.
So whether or not that person agreed or disagreed, maybe not even matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Was Luigi Mangione or whatever trained? No, he got caught, right?
But you watch enough Scarface, dude.
Yeah. And so, are you playing enough Call of Duty?
It took a while to catch him, though.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with this guy.
Well, he had a great expo platform, Bicycle, New York City. You know, if he had a few more layers,
and then
the guy would have been good.
McDonald's. Yeah.
So,
Spicy McChicken.
I don't think it was someone trained, because it's a relatively easy shot. Everyone keeps saying sniper, sniper. Dude, like, I don't think it was a sniper. They used a long gun, and they engaged and they hit. But even you can take any intel guy, any supply guy, any mortar T guy, put them at 200 yards. They're not a trained sniper. They take one shot. Woo, I'm a sniper. It doesn't work that way, right? Mm-hmm. So they were just at an elevated position. Again, rooftop, for me, not trained. Anybody with any form of training is like that. The first thing I would never do this. Need to make that clear, right? But first thing I would do is say, hey, let's not get on a rooftop, because that is the most obvious position. And any little thing is called, it's a compromise, right? Like, you've been compromised.
And the time of day, there were so many other options, and so many other things you could do, some more shading to go behind. Like,
because
if they didn't want to get caught.
If they didn't want to get caught, they would have done it differently.
And they didn't, because they're running.
Yeah, but they will get caught. They could have been freaking point blank. They could have been in the front row, right? And then just done something dumb. But I'm sure that there was enough security getting into that venue that, I don't know. So, and then again, you got to take it a step further. Granted, this isn't the president of the United States, but the president has acknowledged him and said that, he loved him, etc. I mean, with something of that high profile, you want to have hired snipers, counter snipers, right? And the first thing I'm going to do, like, you scan right to left. You don't, I should say less information, because this can all be used for the next idiot, right? But, I would want to, I was just thinking about
you would want to know some things that they were going to want to know.
Well, yeah. And essentially, if I were on a counter sniper operation, you're going to choose the most obvious locations. You're going to scan, hey, is there a dude on a roof? Boom, you get on the glass, you're like, yes, he's got a rifle. All right, engage, right? Eliminate threat. So I just don't think they were very well trained, right? I also don't think this guy had, counter sniper operations, because, he didn't suspect this, right? He would go and debate.
Charlie Kirk didn't have counter sniper operations, but Trump did, and they still didn't catch the guy on the roof. And that's the thing
no one shut off.
That makes me believe, the Trump attempt was an inside job. This looks like some sort of inside job as well. There are videos out there saying it looks like Charlie Kirk security knew what was going on, potentially, may have even been signaling.
About that, some hat signal thing.
There's so much information and there's so much misinformation going on right now.
But people saw this guy running across the roof. Someone had to have alerted authorities, hey, there's a guy on the roof. Just like they did in the Trump situation.
Yeah.
People told law enforcement, there's a guy with a ladder and a rifle getting on the roof, or maybe not a rifle, but they knew he had a ladder and was getting on the roof at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania. I can guarantee you someone told law enforcement, hey, there's a guy in dark clothing running around on the roof at this rally. That's kind of sus. Well, nothing was done, dude.
The only unfortunate part about that is that's not a president speaking. It's a person, and he probably didn't have the same resources and the same people looking at him. He probably had a level of security. I would assume private security hired for himself, and then local police detail. That's probably what it was. So, and even you go that far, like, I've worked in EP and stuff, and sometimes you get a different myriad of skills. Not all people are, smart enough to notice things, and local cops are worrying about local cop shit. I'm like, no, well, the thing is, like, you laugh, but like the thing is, like, to be SF, you're a civilian. A good Green Beret is a fucking civilian.
Yeah, dude, just get me in. I'm ready to go.
I know a guy, man. I know a guy. It's not that poopy face. You know that comedian that was a National Guard recruiter?
Poopsie. Yeah, Jason.
You know him?
Yeah, I know Jason real well.
Yeah.
Jason Vest.
With the curly hair?
Yeah. That's my homeboy, dude.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he talks about being a recruiter a lot and, like, having STDs, right? Or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, banging prostitutes
Everybody's
and stuff.
got them. Everybody's got them.
Dude, I was trying to tell Justin that the other night. Like, he was all worried about herpes or some shit. And I'm like, bro, we all have the simplex.
Yeah.
If you get a blood test done, you're going to have the simplex.
Actually, I got tested
think that's
for
just you
everything.
guys.
Like,
No, you didn't.
yeah, I do. I did. I promise I did.
You got a
Because
blood test done?
I got multiple, like,
And they
4 or
tested
5
for
literally
HSV 1
everything.
and 2?
For everything.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
believe
Can
it.
you get tested with? I don't think you can get a blood test for
Dude,
herpes.
yes, you can.
Yeah, no, it's the
Is it?
HSV 1 and 2 simplex.
HIV.
I got tested for everything.
HSV.
Okay.
I got tested for everything because I had something that was non-STD related that caused my dick to drip for like 2 months, and all the doctors were like trying
It's
to
just
figure
got
out.
a dick cold, dude.
It's called prostatitis, where your prostate gets inflamed, and so they were trying to figure out what was wrong with me. So they gave me multiple tests.
I
and
know
multiple
why.
different, and then
Just got to get a finger up there real
Well,
quick.
no, they were
big deal.
actually going to stick their
You
finger
gotta
in my
stop
ass.
at 3, brother.
Dude,
All right.
they were gonna stick their
There's
finger in my
rules in
ass.
this game.
The VA gave me a bunch of meds for like 2 months. I had to take this antibiotics for 2 months, and it went away at like the 6-week mark. And they scheduled me to get like a legit fingers in my butt. And it was so funny. I didn't want to do it. They're like, "Oh, you're almost 40. You're at about that age. You know, we need to check you for cancer and all this stuff." So it was so funny when I showed up to get the fingers put in my butt. It was like I showed up.
He said
and
fingers.
What's funny is the doctor's office was at the very end of the hallway, and everybody knows what doctor he is and what he does. And so it was like I was walking on death row. I walked in and was trying to be
Dead
like
man
all
walking.
yeah, I was trying to be like all cheerful, and I was like looking at doctors and nurses, and he was walking right in front of me, and I was following him, clearly going to his
Well,
office.
people normally don't have a boner when they're on death row, though.
Well, yeah, touche. and I was walking in, and I was trying to say hi to like nurses and stuff, and
Yeah.
I would be like, "Good morning," and they would like look at me and be like. Like if I was about to get executed, and I was like, "Oh God, it's getting closer," and every doctor was giving me like the
We
look,
know
like,
why
"Oh,
you're here."
We know why you're here." And I went into his room, and he was like, "Do you still have fluid coming out?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna do one more test. You're gonna pee, and then I'm gonna check your bladder, and if your bladder has any fluid, like urine still in it, then I have to do it, and we're gonna have to take it a step further, right?" And I was thinking of all these jokes to say, like while he was inside of me, but then I commented.
Well,
I commented.
he was inside of me.
I made a post about it on Facebook. I was like, getting my prostate examined. What should I say to the doctor while he's doing his procedure? And I got the funniest fucking comments. And then this chick commented, and she was like, because I've got a public Facebook, right? And this guy was like, my wife actually is, I don't know what kind of doctor you call it, right? Like a finger in the butt doctor. And our
Prostatologist.
yeah, whatever the fuck it is.
Presbyterian.
And I think Protestant is the,
Yeah,
anyway.
that's what I said.
So, yeah, he tagged his wife, and she started commenting like, "I've heard it all. I've been doing this like 20 years. I've heard it all." The funniest ones that I've heard, fuck, I don't remember them, but I was fucking screaming of laughter, dude. So can you
Dude, that's
imagine?
funny
Like,
that we talk about this because, like, I posted one of the thing on the podcast site, and a dude that I went through the Q course with, because as medics for the medic job I had in the Army, like you got to get finger in the butt. You finger each other in the butt.
for what? Oh, to go to MEPS?
You have to do it to each other, right?
You have to, not for MEPS. You do it to each other.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to find the post. I don't
So
know if I
you
can
know,
find it.
because
You got to finger blast your buddy.
like you got to check a prostate maybe, so it's
Yeah.
like part of the training. You got to be able to do everything, right?
Mhm, yeah.
And so there's like finger butt day, and I decided to wear a thong. I don't even know if it's a jock thong. You know, like
Yeah.
there's nothing in the back, but it.
You want to make it a fun experience for the other guy.
Oh, I found it. I
Yeah.
found the
So
post.
that's what I wore that day, and he commented on the
Okay.
thing. He's like, "Dude, can you talk about the fucking thing you did in Stockholm?"
Dude.
And I was like the only guy with like a gay jock
Dude.
strap.
This was
What's
back
up?
in November. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
Okay.
good.
Okay, I found the post, November 30th, 2024. It
Huh.
says, "I'm getting a prostate exam at the VA next month. What are some things I definitely shouldn't say?" Inserts finger, as he inserts his finger, you really should have been an OB-GYN or OB-GYN,
Yeah.
right?
Obgyn.
Yeah. You want to get some Applebee's after this?
I was hoping you'd have thicker fingers.
Yeah,
So can you imagine they're inside you and you're like, "You want to get some Applebee's after
Yeah,
this?"
give it a little tickle.
that's all you got.
Make a little come here motion while you're in there. See what happens.
Man, hold on. I'm trying to find this guy that...
Why am I drooling right now?
Can you at least buy me a drink first? Do you take tips?
How many times am I supposed to come?
Ask for a male doctor with large fingers.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, I did. My problems were going away, but now I'm creating more. That's what.
I'm trying to find this. Wire both of your hands on my shoulder. That's a hack. Wait, be
Oh.
careful. I have gerbil bites. Did you find my Hot Wheels van?
Gerbil bites, dude.
when I was first diagnosed with this, man, all sorts.
Dude,
of
I went to since we're talking about STDs, I went to an urgent care because I had like some irritation on the shaft.
Yeah.
And I'd noticed a little bit of discoloration. This was around the same time Justin was going through his thing, so I was like all freaked out and everything.
That's ironic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Was, yeah, weird, right? Crazy that we were both having dick issues at the same time.
Hey, no judgment.
So I go to the urgent care because I talked to Justin. He's like, "Oh, you definitely have it. You definitely have it. You got the clap. It's a clap for sure. It's a clap." I was like, "Fuck you, Justin." So I go to the urgent care, dude, and it's this really cute lady doctor.
So every time
that's checking me out, dude.
Every
I'm like,
time.
"Oh, it's cold in here. This is not a good look. I didn't shave. You know what I mean, dude? It was like just not good, bro." So I like show her the irritation and I explain what was going on, and she looks at it and she's like, "Well, it just looks like maybe you rubbed it a little too vigorously." I was like, "Are you trying to tell me that this is a jerk off injury? Is that what you're trying to say? Because that's not what
it's called a JOI. You got a joy?
Look, if it is if it is any kind of friction injury, it's certainly not from jerking off." But of course, I couldn't tell her that, so I just leave the doctor's office, dude. And this lady doctor just thinks I am a freak, just injuring my own dick because I'm jerking off so hard. Unbelievable.
Been there, man.
dude.
Been there.
I wanted to go back and tell her. I want to go back and tell her, like, "Hey, I just want you to know."
Well, she's dead.
Or she either thinks I'm jerking off really hard, or every girl that I have sex with is just dry as the desert, dude.
Which is probably true.
I'm getting my prostate examined at the VA next month. What are some things I definitely should not say? I was digging through the comments. I got like tons of comments. And some guy said, "My wife, Rachel, works in urology. She's got you on the smoke." And then she says, "It's finally my time to shine," in all caps with the nails. And then she said, because this is what she does, "My last doctor never," so these are things that she's heard while she was examining other people's prostate. "My last doctor never wore gloves for this part. I demand that a female provider do this for me. Did I say 2? Better make it 3. At least take me out to dinner first. I prefer no lube. I don't like having people messing around back there. You don't look like Johnny Sins to me."
Nice.
Hawk to a spit on that thing.
There you
Someone
go.
actually told her that. "What do you call a botched circumcision? A ripoff." Right? As they're inside of her. And I'm like, haha, did they really say all these? I've heard some truly unbelievable things working in the medical field, but urology is something else. I've had one patient.
Urologist.
I had one male patient wear fancy undies.
Protestantologist?
So one male patient wore
There you
fancy
go.
undies. So
You
that's
did
kind
that
of funny.
for your buddy. You wore the thong.
Yeah.
That's just polite.
Well, it's for the whole class. Everyone had to fucking do it. And like you were just, everybody's like in a classroom.
Wait,
pants down.
you were in a classroom setting and everyone was
Yes.
just watching every guy go up there and get fingered?
It's not one at a time. It's like, all right, now go.
Everyone just like gets in a circle and
they
starts
do a
fingering each
demonstration
other?
first.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Man, you know what I would have done?
Do the instructors demonstrate on each other? Like is it instructor on
No.
instructor?
Nope. It's the best way.
Dude.
Instructor student.
You know
From
what
what I remember. Yes, it was definitely instructor shows a
man.
student. And
Everyone's
then,
a step bro
and
on
we've
that
talked
day.
about it. We read it first, like, okay, this is what we do, and then you go and then you finger each other's butts.
That's crazy, dude. How do I sign up?
He's like, I definitely want to fucking join now. Like, Sergeant, I'm here for the finger program. The what?
When do we get to the fingering part? Is that part of boot camp?
Josh said that I gotta have this underwear. Fucking
Dude, I have so many comments. I'm trying to dig through them, but I think about it now and I do this thing where like I try and there's something chaotic happening around me and I just act like I casually didn't see it. And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, guys? I have a comedy show." That would have been hilarious. Getting my prostate examined and like there's a doctor behind me and I'm like, "What's going on, guys? I'm getting a prostate exam. By the way, I've got a comedy show on this day." All right. I did it when my son's mom was in labor, actually. She was in labor giving birth, and I was like, "What's going on, guys? I'm Justin Governal. I've got a comedy
for the
show."
gram, dude.
That's it.
Yeah, I was like, "I got a comedy show next Friday. Make sure you check it out." And she was like yelling, and then she was like, "You're a fucking idiot." And then asked if I could post it, and she said no, right? So I thought it was
You can
hilarious.
post it now.
Dude,
yeah,
your
but I
baby
got a
mama
girl.
sucks so bad.
No, don't do this. Don't do this.
She
No,
doesn't.
yeah.
No, she's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Before I forget this story. So, like, I got a good dick story.
Good dick story, huh?
Not a good dickin', but so I remember there was it's like fucking 10 years ago. I had looked at my genitalia, the region, and I noticed some like small little like lumpy boys that probably shouldn't be there. And I'm like, fuck, goddamn, I've got HIV, herpes, whatever. And I'm like, fuck. So I take my old lady outside and I sit her on the porch and I'm like, I don't know what this is, you know, like, I've got this thing down there. It's probably from someone I had sex with years ago and this and that. And she's like, oh, it's cool. Like, let's go get it checked out, you know? And so like call a dermatologist and shit. And I go in and of course they're like, well, it's in your no-no zone. So we got to like check that out, you know? So they took it was like going up the shaft, kind of like your jack off injury.
Yeah.
So
it was not, by the way, but whatever. Continue.
So it was kind of creeping the shaft, but they were so small. It was like you didn't really see them if you were just like kind of looking at it in a mirror or something. So anyway, so they're like, we got to cut it off. I'm like, what? What do you mean? So yeah, bro, they did a fucking biopsy. And guess what? The fucking doctor was probably the hottest 5'10" female Asian hybrid superhero, supermodel doctor I've ever seen in my life.
Sure.
And my dick has never been more scared in its life.
Just terrified.
Not aside from the bumps.
Just trying to crawl back into your scrotum.
Then that time, you know, and I'm like, that's the worst day of my life. Anyways, come to find out, it wasn't. It was kind of lichen-titis, some kind of weird.
What is that?
Good question.
He likes the tightest.
It's like some weird inflammatory thing your skin can get, and it usually happens to black guys. I'm just saying.
No big deal. I have black dick syndrome. No big deal.
Throw that out there. You know?
I got my bore punched when I was in the Marine Corps, right? You know what that is?
Oh yeah, I'm a medic.
Yeah, so it's like I had a girlfriend at the time. And she called me one day and was like, who have you been fucking? And I was like, I just got back from Iraq.
Now?
Dude, I just got back from Iraq. So there's no female interaction, at least when I was in Iraq. And yeah, so there was no females there. And then I came back and I took the indoc to go to sniper platoon. I'd been training and then I was in sniper school. So I didn't even have a chance if I wanted to, dude. I hadn't been with anyone. She's like, who have you been fucking? And I was like, nobody. And she's like, I have chlamydia. And I hadn't seen her in like 2 months. And I was like, wow, that's wild.
Do you know how you get that?
Yeah, I was like, that's wild because I don't. And so I went to the doctor to just be safe. And the doctor, it wasn't a doctor, it was a Navy corpsman who was my friend. I knew him. And so I got on this table and he gets on his knees and he has to stick like this huge cotton,
dude.
Like this huge cotton swab like up
it's
my
called sounding,
urethra.
I believe.
Yeah. Oh man, I got a story on that too, how I almost got raped, but I'll explain that here in a second.
Dude, I hope you're timestamping this because he has said the S word and the R word now.
And so remove those words.
What did he say?
But there's a time when I almost got raped and I'll explain the story. It's actually funny in a weird way.
All right, finish
So he got on his knees and I'm on a metal table and he goes to like stick the Q-tip into my penis. And right when he started doing it, he looked at me and he goes, and he bites his lip. And I was like, and he bites his lip and I know him. It's not like some random dude. This is my friend. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he does it. And I'm scared to get results for like days. And then I finally saw him in the chow line and I'm just standing next to him and he's looking at me. He's like, do you want your fucking results or not? And I was like, yes. And he's like, oh, we lost him, by the way, which I know he was full of shit. And I was like, what do you mean you lost him? He's like, we lost him. And I was like, what? And he goes, come back next week and see me on Monday. And I was like, no. And
we gotta run it back.
And he's walking away and he goes, I love you. But I'm like, that is the most unprofessional but military shit ever. And I never went back and I didn't have chlamydia. But the word that rhymes with vape story, where I almost got vaped.
Oh, we can't say the R word?
Yeah.
Shit. How many times have I said it?
Yeah.
You can't say that or the word that
blur 'em out.
rhymes with sewer side.
Yeah. So it's all good. We just blur them out. But man, I was working in Afghanistan and I was going to go visit my grandfather at the time, right? And our flight got delayed in Dallas for the night. And so this flight attendant was so cool, bro. He was like, hey, bro, were you military? I'm like, yeah. And at the time, I'm a different dude now. Now I have a son and all this. But at the time, he was like, bro, let's go fuck some whores tonight. He was my flight attendant. And he was this dude. He was like, I was in the Navy. I was a Navy corpsman.
I already know where this is going, but I'm going to keep listening.
Yeah, so he was in the Navy. He was a Navy corpsman. And so I'm like, hell, dude, this is my cup of tea, bro. Like, I'm like 20 freaking 120, or I'm like 23, dude. 24. And so,
bro, flight attendant?
Yeah.
Nothing could go
this
wrong.
Cool ass dude.
He was like,
flight attendant?
Yeah, he was like, I was in the Navy. I was a Navy
He's not
corpsman.
going to try to suck me off.
Yeah. He's like, I was a Navy corpsman. And so he's like, so they give us a hotel for the night because our flight got delayed because the aircraft broke. So they're like, you're all being rerouted tomorrow. Everyone gets a hotel. We're going to shuttle you to the hotel. So I'm on the shuttle with this guy. And this guy's like, bro, let's party. And I'm like, yeah, let's party, right? And we get our hotel room and he's like, I'm in room whatever, go see me, bro, and then we'll hit the town. And I was like, yeah, this guy's cool. I found like a bro to hang out with for the night, right? And so he gets I go to his room and he gets his computer and he opens it, and MSN Messenger was big at the time, right? It's like a messaging platform.
Yeah.
And it pops up what the message says, and it's like, dude, and it's like Manuel says, and it says, hola, mi amor, like, hello, my love. And it says, are you with someone? And then he's like, my friends are stupid. You know how it is. Like,
that's not my boyfriend.
And I was like, yeah. And it's like, dude,
That's
and
not my
like,
gay lover at all.
yeah. And it's like, hello, lover, are you with someone? Hello, lover, are you with someone? Amor, are you there?
Papi chulo,
Yeah,
papacito.
papi chulo. And I'm like reading them, and he's like, you know, yeah. So he exits it out,
These
and I'm like,
funny friends.
first red flag, right? And then he
But you
says,
ignored it.
But you're still going to go out with him.
But I ignored it. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever, bro, chacho.
Kind of seems like you were asking for it at this point,
I
dude,
would have dressed
honestly.
like that if I didn't want to. My baggy pants, my turtleneck sweater, you know, anyway. So we're chilling, and then he goes, bro, let's go look up some Craigslist, like strippers or something stupid. And as he started typing into the search bar, his search history, all the previous searches popped up, and one of them was like,
Twink.
no,
twink.
it said something like gay marine anal, and I'm like looking at this dude. And
Wait, is
on
that
the
me?
notes.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that me?
But I'm still naive at the time. I'm like 23, right? And so I'm looking at
Dude.
so I'm looking at it, and then he looks at me and he goes, bro, you know when your friends take your computer and they just do crazy shit? And I'm like, fucking what? And then
Boys
this dude,
kissing hard. Boys kissing extra hard.
So then, bro, it gets worse. I don't know why. So at this point, I start looking around the room and I'm like, exit.
you
And then
still
I'm like,
stayed, though.
and then I'm like, well, I'm kind of like cornered, and I'm looking around.
Comfy couch.
Yeah, comfy couch. Yeah. Exit.
Cuck
Comfy
chair.
couch. Yeah, cuck chair. And so he freaking, dude, so he keeps, like, I start looking around. I start looking like, I can use that lamp as a weapon. I can use that as a weapon. And I start just kind
that
of reading
big
the room.
dildo,
You
I could
could
use
just
that as a
leave.
weapon.
And so,
Simply walk out of the hotel room.
oh, it gets worse. It gets worse, dude. So this, I don't know if you can even say this stuff. I'm just going to say it.
Oh, yeah.
And so-
you can.
Bro, he ends up goes, you want to see something crazy? And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? So he types in, he's like, look at this video my friend just sent me, bro. It's fucking crazy. And he turns on the video, and it's some guy like strapped to like a chair, and he's naked, and there's like electrodes hooked up to him, and they start shocking like his genitals. And the guy's like, oh, and then the guy finishes, the guy nuts. Right? And he goes, isn't that crazy? And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he goes, let me show you this other one, bro. This is, dude. And so he just pops up this video, and it was like, there were like anal beads, but they were like, it was that word that your word that you said triggered it, right? There were like anal beads, but it was a rod, right?
Oh, sounding.
Mm-hmm. And so they're like beads, but they're not, there's not like a full on anal beads. They're like, it's like a straw, right? But like with beads.
Little metal bearings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's like, bro, look at this. And they start doing that sounding thing to this dude, and they pull him out, and the guy finishes. And at this point, I'm like, fucking boom.
Do you have
boom,
some of
boom.
these?
No, I'm looking around, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. I'm gonna have to, right? And so the guy's like, all right, hey, bro. And he turns around. He's like, let's get a drink before we go out. And he turns his back and he opens a beer, and he turns around and hands it to me. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm just hungover from last night. And he's like, oh, dude, I'm a doc. And he reaches in his bag and he fucking pulls out these pills, and he goes, here, bro. And he's like, I'm a medic, dude. Like, I was a corpsman. Bro, it's just Tylenol. And I go, nah, I don't like taking anything for my body. And he goes, really? And I go, yeah. And he goes, okay, bro, so you ready to hit the town? And I'm like, how the fuck do I get away? He's like, I'm just gonna take a piss before we go. And I'm like, yeah, bro, yeah. And he goes to take a piss, and I just and at this point, someone had just started calling me, the guy that we're gonna go to the strip club with, another Marine that I know that lives in Houston, because we weren't in Dallas, we're in Houston for the night. And so this is one of my Marine buddies that I was working in Afghanistan with. So I just, as soon as he starts taking piss, I run for the door, I open it, and I start just sprinting down the halls. And I answer, my friend's like, what's up, man? I'm outside. I was like, what car are you in? What car? So he describes his vehicle. I'm sprinting. I get in the car, and he's like, what's up, bro? How have you been? I'm like, fucking drive right now. I almost got fucking raped. And
No,
he's
you
like,
didn't.
yeah.
You stuck around
Yeah,
and
dude.
watched
Yeah.
some videos.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
dude.
dressed like that.
Yeah, you're just kicking it.
Yeah, and so
He's
I
really
fucking,
overreacting.
This was like, you want to watch
So-
some videotapes, and Justin just like, yeah.
so dude, we fucking, we speed
I gotta
off.
return some tapes.
Bro, we speed off, and my friend's like, woo, and he's driving off, and he's got this loud Mustang, and he's like, bro, I just need to let you know, because I'm like, speed, and then he's driving off. He's like, bro, I just want to let you know I'm way too bro. I'm on ecstasy right now. I'm like, oh god damn it, dude.
Oh,
Like,
I'm about to get
and
raped
so-
twice.
Yeah, and so he's like, take these pills. He pulls his mask off. It's that old dude, right? But dude, and then we hit the town, and I made sure to come back like just in time to get myself with no sleep, just so I can get back on a different plane. And he wasn't on the same plane, but like, holy fucking shit, dude, that was an insane story for
And
me. Right?
what
Like,
a missed opportunity to come from electrodes. Dude.
I know, dude. But yeah,
I cannot fathom why you stayed in the room.
honestly, bro,
The
so this
videos?
is gonna sound like I'm not trying to mansplain shit to anybody, right? But
Like
like,
Stockholm
you know,
syndrome?
you know how women will say like, why'd you
just
stay?
froze?
And they're like, I don't know. I felt like
No,
pressure.
it's the Bambi theory, dude, or some shit like that.
I
Like
just-
dead deer. What is it?
Well,
Where it's
I've
like,
been in a similar
you're
situation.
like frozen mentally. You're like, I think I need to leave,
Dude,
but I can't.
It was more like I could not
shouldn't.
believe
Yeah.
what was happening, and I
you were
was
just in
like,
shock.
yeah,
That
I
makes
was kind of
sense.
like looking around. But even when I was looking around, I was like, weapon. I can use that as a weapon. And in my next, I was like, I'm gonna have to fucking kill this guy. And then my first chance to run out, I ran out, knowing that what I know now. Right, I would have just fucking, hey brother, I'm walking out and you're not gonna fucking stop me. And if you try, I'm gonna kill you, right? And he would be like, hey, no, it's not like that. I'd be like, no, we're good. We're not hanging out.
Yeah,
But
unless you kiss me.
and what's crazy,
We're not fucking.
and what's crazy, and I've said the story on other multiple podcasts, right? But like same shit. It's a long fucking story, but I was gonna go see Marlon Wayne at a comedy show and I got catfished. It's a long story. I got catfished by someone, and right as I was walking up, they were like, sorry, you got cold feet. And I knew I was getting catfished because it was just supermodel pictures. And so I end up getting catfished and ghosted when I'm at the comedy venue. And so I was going to see Marlon Wayne, and there's all these people like, can we buy tickets, please? And I'm like, here, just take it. I'm going to lose it anyway. And this guy, same shit. Hey, bro, let me buy you a drink after the show. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. So after the show, this guy's like, yeah, come have the drink with us. And we go and we have a drink at Yard
Why
House.
are these guys targeting you, dude?
Well, dude, this is years later. Because I'm hot, bro. What the fuck? The fuck?
I think you sound like
Yeah.
an easy target.
And so I walk off, and I get, man, this one's fucking gnarly. But I walk off, and and as I was leaving, the guy's like, hey bro, come get a drink with us at Yard House. Let me buy you that drink. And I'm like, sure. But it's 2 guys and 2 girls. And so I start realizing he's not with this chick. And so I was like, well shit, I'm just gonna hit on her. So I start hitting on her, and then the guy starts saying, bro, you want to fuck my friend? I'm not with her, dude. Like, you want to fuck her? I'll put in a good word. And then he starts showing me his phone. What about this chick? You think this chick's hot? Dude, my friends will be into, he's such a bro. And this argument happens between the other couple. They go outside and they get a phone call, and we all walk
it's
outside.
one of them, like friend setup things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But we go outside, and the cops are talking to the other couple. I guess they fought so like they got violent.
Yeah.
And so cops, it was the Irvine Spectrum, cops show up, sit them down. The chick we're with, that's her best friend. She gets up, she runs off, and she starts talking to them, and she gets pulled by the cops, sit down over here. And then this random dude I just met that was like, you want to fuck my friends? Dude, there's a party on Sunday. It's a rooftop. Bro, all my friends are going to love you. All these chicks are fucking hot, bro. They're going to love you. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. I love this guy, right?
I'd suck his dick.
Yeah. And so we're walking, and the people that are on the ground with the cops, they point to me and him, and the guy goes, oh shit, just start walking. We start walking. This random dude I've never met in my life is like, bro, I know I just met you. I don't want to deal with it. They're my ride home. Bro, you mind if I just crash your place tonight? And my stupid ass at the time, because I'm in California, beach towns.
Yeah.
Beach towns are like, yeah, crash my place. So I go, yeah, bro, no problem. And so I bring him into my house, and right as we're pulling in, right as I'm like turning the key like off for my car, I get into my garage or into my paid spot or whatever. I turn off the car, and he goes, why'd you go to that show by yourself, bro? And I'm like, yeah, I got catfish, this and that. He goes, yeah, bro, but you're like attractive. And I go, yeah, thanks, man. And then we get out and we start walking out, and he's like, no, but you're like really attractive. And I'm like, fuck. So we get upstairs, and I start jiggling my keys in my door, and I look at him. I'm like, I don't normally do this, right? And I start saying, nah. And so I open the door, and we were renting out my living room at the time. This is California. We're all a bunch of broke fighters. And there's a huge bed in the living room, and my roommate's like hitting a bong, smoking weed. And I walk past him, and I go into my room because my battery was low, so I'm going to grab my phone charger. And he just throws himself into my bed. And so I get my charger, and I walk out, and my roommate's just hitting the bong. And at the time, we were fuckboys at the time, right? Again, lots changed since then. But at the time, I was just single dude trying to bring home girls.
Trying out new things.
Yeah, trying not to bring home dudes, but here we are. And so my phone, I started getting them. Oh, and here's another huge detail that I left out.
Dude.
Huge detail. He was like, bro, get my number. And I go, yeah. And I type in his number. He goes, send me a text so I have your number. So for some stupid reason, like gay marine humor, just met this dude. Send me a text so I have your number. So I sent him eggplants and squirting emojis, and I send it to him. And he looks at me and he sends back squirting, kissing face. And so the reason why I bring out that detail is because I'm in the living room of my own apartment and I start getting text messages. Justin, are you coming? Justin, are you coming? And it says, Justin, come cuddle. And the last messages were the squirting emojis. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm looking at my roommate and he's like, so he's hitting the bong, and I show him the messages. So he's thinking, what girl is this? And I'm showing him the messages.
And he's like, hell yeah.
He's hitting the bong, and I'm showing him the messages, and he goes, who's that? And I point to my room, and he goes, when he blows all the smoke out, and he looks at me, he goes, I'm way too high for this shit, right? And so I fucking...
Literally the exact same scenario.
Yes. And so I go into my room and he starts getting all comfortable and I grab this dresser where I have my pistol and I stuff it and I go out to my living room and I lay down and I'm just looking around and I start going to sleep and we had a cat and the cat's name was Harambe. It was 2016, right? And so I start...
Dicks out, baby.
Yeah, dicks out, buddy.
Pussy's out.
Dicks out for that random dude I just brought home. And so I'm like laying down and I start hearing my cat move around and I start like waking up. I'm like, it's just Harambe. Don't you know you have the worst possible time to be scaring me with a name like Harambe right now, you know? And so, in the morning, I don't know why I felt bad. Same shit. I wanted to kick this dude out of my home that, I brought home. And so I wake him up.
Hey, your Uber's here.
Yeah, no, I like wake him up. I'm like, hey. And I felt bad.
Babe.
Yeah, I know. And I felt bad. So I didn't have any food or anything. And for some reason, I don't even know why, I give him a glass of water and an apple. Right? And I wake him up.
Hospitality,
a baby arm holding an apple. No big deal.
And so I'm holding the beer.
You're like,
I'm sorry, the beer, the Jesus. I'm holding the water and the apple. And I wake him up. I'm like, hey, you got to go, man. I got to go teach a jiu-jitsu class. And then he wakes up and he's like, bro, what happened last night, man? Dude, I don't remember anything. And I'm like, yeah, you gotta go. And so he fucking gets in his Uber and drives off. And then he texted me, sorry about last night, man. And I'm like, me too. No, I'm just kidding. No. And he's like, sorry about me too. Yeah. And then he said, sorry about last night, man. I don't know what happened. I got really drunk. I'm like, all good, just not my thing. And then he says, LOL, you should have stayed and cuddled. Or you should have came and cuddled. And then I just blocked him. And so what's funny about this story, to take it a step further, not a step further, but like I have to go teach a jiu-jitsu class and they're waiting to open up the gym. And Mike Ness, he's the lead singer of Social Distortion. They're a huge punk band. He used to train at our gym and get private lessons there. And so he's standing outside and everyone's like, hey, what's up, man? How was your, what'd you do last night? And I'm like, bro. And I tell everyone the story. And when I get to the part about the apple and the water, Mike Ness hasn't said shit the whole story. He's just standing there listening to me. And right when I get to the part about the apple and the water, he looks at me and he goes, you gave him breakfast, you fucking cock tease, right? And he goes, you should have at least gave him breakfast, or you should have at least sucked his dick or something like that, right? And so I'm like, yeah. And so we open the gym, and ever since that day specifically, I'm like, all right, if I don't know you, the gay marine humor, don't do it. If I just met you, don't be like, hey, brother, hey, I don't care if you're like a bro like that, I'm just not doing it anymore. I still have poppers. You want a popper?
Yeah,
those things are great, actually.
I will literally
Not
do
poppers,
anything.
but
It's eucalyptus oil.
Just sniff it?
It's just eucalyptus oil. It's pretty cool.
it's nice. You get a little menthol hit. It's pretty
cool,
good
right?
stuff.
I wish it was
Now you both
powder.
have nose aids.
Now I'm going to shit because I'm thinking about cocaine.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
A little baby lax, no big deal.
Yeah, so we came on to talk about some things. We did that. It's pretty cool.
We talked about a lot.
We're talking about a lot of
all
shit.
over the place, dude.
I feel like we can just, every time I have a podcast now, it's like it could continuously just go on forever, you know?
We went from Charlie Kirk to Justin almost getting graped 2 separate times, but pretty much the same story.
No, there's more than that, brother.
Every day is a survival mode for this guy. He's like, man, I went to Chick-fil-A. I went to Chick-fil-A this morning, and you won't believe what happened.
Almost got kidnapped walking into this podcast studio.
Free nuggets. That shit'll get me too, man. Anyways, all right, so let's segue, into what we'd like to talk about is some little, mistake or two if you made any in life.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. I'll let Justin start with his favorite mistake. I've got I've got so many. Do you want to hear about drug mistakes?
Love
you wanna
drugs.
Hear, drugs are great.
Drug mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah. I got all kinds of them.
Man.
What
I
made
feel
you
like
better?
Justin's mistake was just
Yeah, man.
letting
Answering
these gay dudes lure him in.
Yeah.
Just being a friend. You know.
Yeah, just being a bro. Trying to be a good guy.
Let's see. I've got a bunch of stuff. We've all made tons of mistakes, right? I think for me, where I got a life lesson out of was I fought this dude named Ryan Lang. He was 4-1 at the time. He wrestled. He was a two-time NCAA wrestler for Penn State, and he was a really good fighter. Right? I don't know if he still competes, but we had such a good fight. And he owned me on the first round, took me down. I mean, collegiate wrestler, beat the piss out of me the first 5 minutes. And what's funny is the fight before that, I had fought for Bellator, and it was the same. A collegiate wrestler took me down, beat the piss out of me for 5 minutes, went out before the second round, and I just thought, like, I just felt that this guy was better control-wise than I was on the ground. And so the bell rang, and I just, as hard as I could, I hit him, dropped him, got a finish for Bellator. It was great. Fucking thousands of people. It was great. So I was fighting another wrestler the next fight with higher credentialed in wrestling, and he felt really strong on top. And what's crazy is before the fight, I visualized. Yeah, I'm a bottom guy. So
we know.
No, so
guy was dominating from the top. I offered him an apple.
I gave him an apple and water. And
go ahead.
Yeah, I visualized beating this individual, but it's gonna sound crazy, but I didn't believe it. And I visualized like doing all sorts of winning, but then last second, I don't know why, like that other dark voice came into my head and was like, you almost win, but then he's such a good wrestler that he comes back, but it's going to be a good fight. And I was like, no. And I was just in that battle in my head. And there's something that I had drilled with my coach the entire camp, and it was a certain combination. I throw a feint, and then I throw an elbow a certain way, right? I drilled it for 2 months straight. And so in the second round, very similar to my previous fight, I get beat up the first 5 minutes. And I went out there and I was honestly just terrified of this guy taking me down versus me throwing my hands.
Yeah.
And I heard his coach or somebody in the crowd just yell out, "Let's go, Ryan. He doesn't want to stand either." And when I heard that, I said, oh, fuck yeah. This guy doesn't believe in his hands. So I start hitting him, beating him up. And he starts falling down. And then I go for that elbow. And for some reason, I just don't pull the trigger and I don't do it. And my ego got in the way and was like, well, I'm going to take him down. But he's like, he's falling down.
Because you felt so dominant at that time.
Yeah, like I was
at
just
that moment.
It's like I didn't fully believe in the elbow that I would get the knock. So I literally showed it, and then I took him down. I got on top, and we scramble. I saw flash. Next thing you know, and there's people throwing money into the ring. It was a ring, not a cage.
Yeah.
And what they'll do in boxing fights is they'll throw money in there if it's a good fight.
I did MMA in a ring before too. Yeah.
So it was like people are throwing money in there, and next thing you know, I see a flash, and next thing you know, I'm getting choked unconscious, and like I'm like, maybe just go out on your shield, and I look up at the clock, and it's like 1:41. I'm like, I'm not getting out of this, so I tap right, and I lose. And the biggest mistake that I made was just not executing what I trained, not fully believing in myself. And then where this story goes a step further is I was backstage at another fight, like, I don't know, a month later. And this other guy was supposed to fight him. He's like, hey, bro, how'd your fight with Ryan go, man? And I was like, oh, dude, it was a great fight, dude. And exactly like I visualized and what I told myself, it's a great fight, but I didn't get the win. And so what's so funny is I start trying to be cool to all these other professional fighters. Dude, it was such a good fight, man, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I start building it up, and I don't mention the part where I lost. I just start, bro, and then this and I almost knocked him out, bro. And then he goes, well, did you win? He interrupts my story. And then I go, no, but I almost knocked him out. And this fighter, he smokes a lot of pot. And not even realizing how powerful his next statement was about to be, he changed my life forever, right? Because I'm like, no, I didn't win, but I almost knocked him out. And he's all high, and he goes, man, I could write a book about the shit I almost did. And everyone started laughing. And that moment resonated with me the rest of my fucking life. To this day, that happened in 2012, dude. No, it was 2016. And I never forgot how powerful of a lesson it was of like, I could write a book about the shit I almost did, right? And dude, I did the...
Can you say his name or?
Emilio...
Emilio. That's all that matters.
Estevez.
No,
that's the
Emilio
best.
Chavez. Emilio
Yeah. That was
Chavez, I think
close.
was his last name. Good fighter.
Respect.
But yeah, man, what I'm getting at is like I just didn't pull the trigger because in a weird way, I just didn't think I could knock him out. But bro, the guy was literally falling down, and then he told me after the fight he couldn't even talk. We both get a check. We go backstage to get checked by a doctor, and he couldn't even talk because I almost knocked him out. And he starts, man, thanks for the fight, man. I was so confused, but his wrestling took over, and he did what he had to do.
Dude, that's what wrestlers different.
Oh, they're
Mhm.
a different breed, right? And so
That's
I
why I made my kid wrestle.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do. And so I till this day think about that moment, and the whole thing is like I just didn't pull the trigger in the moment because I just didn't fully believe. And I think I guarantee I could have jabbed him one more time and he would have dropped, right? And so I flashed the elbow and I just don't do it. And what was funny was I was offered a fight if I beat Lang, because at the time I was 6-3, I think. I don't really remember. The whole career's a blur at this point. But I had got an offer. If you beat Lang, you're going to go to Japan and you're going to go fight this other dude. And the whole trajectory of my career changed because I just didn't pull the trigger when I needed to. And then I had a couple losses in a row and then kind of called it a career, to be honest, right? And I just think of how different my life would have been if I would have won that fight and if I would have just pulled the trigger. And when I'm being honest with myself as my career is over, it's because I didn't fully believe. And so the statement that's valid to me is, man, I could write a book about the shit I almost did.
That's
and
powerful.
So it's powerful because even when I was on Naked and Afraid, right, I did 2 seasons, there were so many times where that other voice takes over and you have to literally shut it up and say like, fuck no, like, I'm
well, the
gonna
thing
make
is,
it,
you never know if your hand will win sometimes unless you go all in, right?
Yeah.
And that's what, in those times you got to think about, man. And it kind of takes some training or some time to think, you know what? I think now's the time I go all in. And that's what I feel like.
But you just can't let fear dictate your next action.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what happens a lot of times.
Like the
whether
girl
it's
at
fear
the
or
girl at the
ego.
coffee shop today, right? She was like, she doesn't want to put her podcast out there.
Oh, yeah. That. Yeah. Okay. I thought we were going a different direction.
90 minutes in, brother. We got time.
The girl at the coffee shop. Yeah, dude. Worried that, some of her friends are going to think poorly of her
or
because
judge. Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't like what she has to say.
Yeah.
Well, fuck your friends.
Yeah, you know how much flack I'm going to get because of this? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the comments are going to be from me, dude.
You're next.
Josh is short.
Josh is short. Thinks he's buff.
Fuck, dude. I wear smaller shirts. I don't lift more weights. All right.
That's the way to do it, dude. Man, I grew up homeschooled and in a religious cult. That
You're
was
the
my
second
whole childhood.
person. The
dude.
first guest, great friend Alex, the Sticky Green Beret. If you guys don't follow him. Awesome dude. He was a Mormon growing up.
Okay,
And he got exiled for being a human, essentially, like having sex.
Yep.
Or something. I don't know what kids do. Teenagers do. He did. So. But what about yours?
It's an interesting way. It's an interesting way to experience, your adolescence growing up in a high control environment like that. It's kind of crazy. When I was 16 years old, I got sent away to a rehabilitation facility. It was really just a cult compound in Indianapolis, Indiana, because I had a secret girlfriend, and my parents found out, and that wasn't okay. So they sent me off to this.
It wasn't a flight attendant, was it?
No flight attendants.
Okay.
No.
Good.
No, it was an actual girl. She was real. But yeah, went to this compound for a couple months. Did some stuff there that probably shouldn't have. Ended up getting kicked out of that program as well. Ultimately left the cult when I was 18 years old, and growing up, like I said, in this high control environment, being told you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. I wanted to experience life on my terms at that point. But I was 18 years old and wasn't capable of, making good decisions at that point.
You knew everything.
Well, I knew I knew nothing. That was the thing. I didn't think I knew everything, and I wanted to go experience it all. But not having any exposure to the real world, man, I just made mistake after mistake after mistake, dude, and ended up, heavily addicted to drugs. At one point, I was distributing large amounts of an illicit substance on the East Coast, and made so many life-altering mistakes. I mean, Justin talking about, not throwing the elbow when he knew he should have. I did so many things that I knew I shouldn't have, but did them anyway, just because, I wanted to experience what life was really like.
You probably had some wins too, though. Like you get away with some shit sometimes.
Oh yeah, I never got arrested.
Yeah.
I mean, I
and it feels like a win, even though you're not winning something.
Yeah,
you get away with some shit after so many times, and you're like, you know what? I'm invincible.
Lot, yeah, and you do develop that mentality, like, oh, I'm untouchable. I was not untouchable. I got out of the drug distribution game, but continued doing drugs, continued addictive behavior.
If you're not going to lose one way, you'll lose another.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
I didn't get sober until I was 29. I'm 42 now, so I've been sober for
skin looks great.
12, 13 years. Dude, heroin is a hell of a drug, man.
It's a preservation.
It'll really keep your skin looking good.
I don't advise heroin as a skin routine.
I do. It is great. Not only are you going to look young forever, you're going to feel great doing it. What more can you ask for in a skin routine, really?
Naps, dude. What?
Dude, I got sober when I was 29, man. And it felt like my entire life leading up to that point was just a huge mistake. It's like I could have, like there's so many things I could have done differently throughout those first 29 years.
Oh, yeah.
And
you look back and you're like, did I waste all of that?
Exactly, dude. I mean, how do I even move forward at this point? I've fucked up so much. I'd managed to hold down a job. I made good money, but I had nothing to show for it at 29 years old.
The good thing
about
at least coming to a realization like that, right, is that, you know what? The future looks different, right? Like, the past looks like this, but you're like, holy fuck. If you are able to come to a point in life where you can actually reflect on your past as something that you wasted.
Yeah.
You always make sure that you're not wasting the future, right? So I think that's why, like, guys that have totally fucked up and done a lot of whatever shit in their life, they're a little different now, and the future is better, So,
what was interesting about it, man? And I guess, if this is a mistake, or it was obviously a mistake. So, right before I got sober, the girl that I was engaged to at the time, she was also a hopeless junkie, dude. I took her to rehab. I was still an absolute dope fiend. Took her to rehab to get help. Didn't think I needed help, but she obviously did. Took her to rehab. I was drunk as hell when I dropped her off. They gave me a tour of the facility and everything. I rode around a little golf cart. I even saw someone I knew in this rehab facility. I was like, holy shit, this guy's in here?
Look at this retard.
Is crazy, dude. Yeah.
Oh, so I said the R word.
They drive me around a little thing. I don't remember much of it at all, aside from seeing this dude that I knew. That stuck in my brain, but nothing else. I don't remember anything else. I visited my fiance while she was going through detox. She needed like cigarettes and wanted a picture of us together or whatever. I drove stuff out to her, was so fucked up. I don't remember driving out there at all. I was told after the fact that, oh yeah, you came and visited, you dropped some stuff off for her, you talked to the staff and then left. I don't remember that at all. Like, it was bad, dude. So I do all of this for her. She ends up getting kicked out of rehab. That's a long story. But when she got kicked out of rehab, I didn't know what to do. I was absolutely lost at that point. And I was in such a dark place that I knew I needed to make a change too. My life was essentially over at this point. So I called the rehab that she had run away from, or gotten kicked out of, I should say. Called the rehab and asked, like, hey, is there anywhere I can go, like a support group or something, just to figure out how I can help her, be there for her, still completely focused on her and not the problems I was having. And they were like, yeah, there's this support group that you can go to and you can talk to some people. Why don't you go check it out? So I go check this thing out. Turns out I show up and immediately realize, oh, this is not a support group. This is an AA meeting. I don't belong here. I don't need this. I don't need anything that these people have to say to me. But there was someone at that meeting that knew me and convinced me, hey, you should just stick around. Just stick around, see what you think, right? So I'm sitting there, and this lady gets up. It's what they call a speaker meeting in Alcoholics Anonymous, and she gets up.
My
and
first AA meeting, I was 16. So
whoo, there you go, buddy.
Go ahead.
Nice. So she gets up, tells her story. Her story really resonated with me, and I was like, this lady could actually help my fiance, I think. So I go up to her to talk to her after the meeting, right? And we're talking, and I was like, yeah, my fiance, she just got kicked out of rehab. I think you could really help her. I'd really appreciate it if, you give her a call. And she was like, well, why don't you give her my number and she can call me if she wants to? And I was like, all right, I can do that. And I was like, oh, by the way, my name's Davey. And she was like, oh, I know. I was like, what do you mean you know? And she was like, when you came to the rehab to drop off your fiance, I was the one that drove you around in the golf cart. When you called asking for help, I was the one you talked to on the phone, and now you're at this meeting and we're meeting and I can help you and you can get the help that you need. And that was just such an aha moment for me. The mistake of thinking I'm not the one that needs help. It's my fiance that needs help. I'm going to show up to this rehab drunk as a fucking skunk, show up again, high out of my mind, not even know where I am. But then this is the end result. I mean, that's just crazy, dude. And that's when I got sober. That was the catalyst for me being sober for the past 12, 13 years, whatever it is now.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Pretty massive moment for me, dude. And life has been good, man. I've made so many mistakes in sobriety for sure. But life just continues to get better and better.
Do you sleep as good as Justin did last night?
Oh, Justin was knocked out, right?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That was great.
We were in separate rooms, just to clarify.
Same bed.
Hey,
Same
whoa,
bed.
dude.
Yeah.
Same bed.
You got us 2 different rooms. We ended up in the same.
Yeah.
He keeps his flight attendant uniform everywhere he goes.
And he keeps asking me to put it on. Talking about
Fuck,
sounding.
dude,
Can you show me
Again?
some videos on your laptop, maybe?
Again?
But yeah, man, it's
Fucking hell.
life is crazy, dude. And kind of like what Justin was talking about. I could also write a book about the things I almost did. But what's cool for me in the past few years, man, I mean, I had a very high profile, very successful career after I got sober. And I could have just kept doing that. Could have continued making a lot of money, could have continued flying around on private jets and, kind of living this big wig lifestyle. And I just decided I don't care about any of that anymore, dude.
Dude, it's weird because I do feel like, like you start to make a little change and then you're like, okay, now I can afford to maybe do some shit I want to do.
Oh, yeah.
And then you start to realize, you know what? Was it about the money or was I chasing something else? And
Sometimes it was about the money for me for a while,
I
dude.
mean, at the end of the day, yeah, the dollar
It
sign
was,
is important, but
like, I think and this doesn't happen for everybody, but I think just a lot of the stuff that I did go through, a lot of the mistakes that I did make kind of set me up to where I could get on top of the mountain and realize, oh, this isn't really where I want to be, actually. I want to have a cool life.
yeah.
Dude,
I
yeah,
want to
man.
help other people. I want to relate to other
100%.
people. I want to be a force for change and a force for good in this world. And, maybe telling dick jokes on stage isn't exactly the force for good that
Helps me out.
somebody,
Yeah.
see?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, and Justin and I were just talking about it, man. Like, the people that do relate to us, the lives that we do change. Yeah, it sounds goofy and it sounds so cliche saying, yeah, I'm going up on stage to make people's lives better and to, try to inject some happiness and joy into this world. That sounds so cliche, but in reality, it does happen, dude.
and it feels good for you and the person receiving it because a lot of times you
That's
don't
what
know
she
who
said.
needs it,
Yeah.
And
I got a message yesterday that said, I started doing comedy because of you.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't directly through me. I put someone on a show, and that person, it was Christina Mariani. I was booking a show. I booked her for the show. She did the On Sub podcast, gained a bunch of followers from it. One of them was this random dude, and he met her because she mentioned my name on the podcast. So he started following me. So he's like, in a weird way, I started doing stand-up because of you, because Mariani inspired me to do stand-up. And he's like, oh, by the way, I'm now sober.
Mhm.
And because I've recently gotten sober, I can have 12 drinks for the year. That's not exactly sober, but it kind of is. 12 drinks for the whole year. And that feels good, man. I read that message and I was like, that is so badass. And so the reason I quit drinking is because I had a son, right? And I
I was
just,
surprised that wasn't your greatest mistake, dude.
what's that?
having a son.
No, it's not anymore because, man, I honestly, anytime I talk about my kid, I kind of get like emotional at this point, right? But because I was living a life where I was just blacking out and I was just drinking all the time, right? And I was super promiscuous and all this stuff. And, you know, things happen and I had a child, right? It is what it is, right? I was living that lifestyle. And at first it started as like, God, what am I doing? Like, how is this happening? I'm not ready. And I'm 39, right? And then slowly, right? One of the things, I bought a second house, right? With way more space. Now I have a rental property. Would not have done if I had a kid. I quit drinking because I want this kid to see a man as a leader. So now I don't drink anymore. Now I'm saving a bunch of money. Now I'm investing, right? And so it's no longer, it's not a mistake, right? This kid deserves and belongs to be here because he's got a soul, right? He's starting to look at me. He smiles. And I get all the, like, little things make me cry. Like a little baby, 2 years old, walks up to him and she goes, baby, baby. And then she kisses him on the foot. She kisses him on the foot. No one taught her to do that. She's just been shown love. And I start crying and I look at my friend and I'm like, dude, I don't know what's wrong. He's like, it's called low testosterone, brother, right? But now he's joking, right? But he said, same thing, man, happens all the time. And so like, I'm reflecting on my childhood and things that I was given or not given. And so now I'm trying to self-correct and I'm changing my life so this kid can see through my actions, you know, that I'm not a drunk and I've lost weight because of it. So is it a mistake? No. Am I here by mistake? Well, dude, we're all pre-cum babies. Let's face it, right? But
yeah.
But like,
I am not. All right.
But yeah, I'm not looking at.
He's a full cum.
I'm a breast milk boy.
It's about
He's a full cum baby.
It's about owning up.
Aggressive cum baby.
It's about owning up to everything that you've done, right? You can't murder a man, get out of prison.
Yeah.
Like I know a guy that robbed a bank, or I'm sorry, a jewelry store. He robbed a jewelry store and he got caught. He did 7 years in prison. And he got out and he's now a different dude. He's like, yeah, I cut all those people off. I don't live that life anymore. He's still got like that hood in him. But he's always like, hey, I'm one of the dudes that use prison. I use it to change me, bro. I quit doing all that stuff.
Dude,
and,
I suggest everyone to go to jail for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good training
I
program.
don't want to, man. I'm too pretty.
But
I'm pretty, but I didn't get.
But actions have consequence, right?
Yeah.
And consequence of me living that lifestyle was that I had a child. Is it a bad consequence? No. Not anymore. Now this kid's changing my life.
And I do want to
love
say
it.
for the record, Justin and I had so many conversations about this. I mean, how many hours on the phone, dude?
Yeah.
Where he would call me up freaking out like, oh my God, I'm going to have a kid. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I told him
You figure it out.
every
You figure it
single
out.
time, you're going to figure it out and it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
I believe that. And I mean, the changes that I've seen in Justin are crazy, dude.
Even me and my son's mom don't see eye to eye on a lot
Turned
of things.
into a total bitch, dude.
Mainly, yeah. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, mainly because she's taller than me, right? But, but like, you know, it's like what I'm getting at is like, I feel, and maybe it's vice versa too, both of us, I feel like she doesn't know that I'm literally a different dude. There's people in my family, there's people that were friends always. I'm just like, cut all this shit out because I need to focus on this child and just being a man, being a leader, right? Like a coward runs from his responsibilities, turns his head. Yeah, I got this kid. I'm not taking care of, like, you're a coward, dude. You're a fucking coward. Like,
all right. I'm right here, dude.
Yeah. But I'm going to be a dad because it's a consequence of my action. And I could be a total bitch about it and turn my head, or I could be like, I'm going to love the fuck out of this kid, right? Because he deserves it. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't.
It's not his fault.
I didn't ask to be here. He didn't ask to be here. Nobody here has to be here, right? And so, yeah, it's not a mistake. Like at this point, I feel like what's so funny about her, my son's mom, when I met her at a bar in 2019, and I saved her name in my phone. I won't say her first name, so I don't put her on blast. But I already had another name in my phone.
Sophia,
like that.
What is it?
Vergara?
Yeah.
You said not to say it.
Oh,
Her name was Bonnie Blue. So no, I'm just kidding. No.
Number
So
1001.
I was like, hey, I already have someone with this name. So what do I save it as? And I go FBM, and she goes FBM, and as a joke, I said future baby mama, right? Years later, it was a one-time thing. Became my baby mama, right? And so it's kind of funny. It's kind of like
manifested it, dude.
it's kind of like the universe, right? Like this little kid was meant to be here, and so I could look at it and be like, oh, it's a mistake. No, it's not. The universe has a plan for all of us, right? And I think it's about, you make a mistake, it's one thing if you dwell on it and you sink because of it, and it's another thing, you rob a fucking jewelry store, you get caught, you serve 7 years.
It's how
and
you
turn
bounce
your life
back.
around. It's how you bounce back, right?
Every time, man. And it sounds so fucking cliche, but it's the truth. Like,
Yeah.
literally, sometimes, you make mistakes, you do things wrong, and it almost seems like you got to have practice at it. And once you've had enough practice, you realize like, okay, I know I did this, or I know this is happening, but I've been here before. I'm resilient. I know that I'm going to do better next time. I'm bouncing back, and I'm bouncing back higher. So I think that's, one thing we all strive to do. Just bounce back.
Yeah.
Cliches and stereotypes are true for a reason.
A lot of them are fucking. A lot of them really are, man.
Yeah, one time Davey was like, I could say whatever I want. I'm white. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not the stereotype I was
Them days are over,
talking
buddy.
about tall white guys having big old hogs.
Fucking
Yeah.
hell. All right, well, that's not true. But what is true is that it's time to call it a night, get some din, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, man.
And I appreciate you guys
Go
coming
make some
out.
mistakes and go bounce back from it.
Yeah, let's do it. No.
Go write a book about all the things you could have done.
So until next time,